Okay, wine number three. Wine number three, I think, is going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing sometime before too long, and I'll explain why. First, let me tell you what it is. It's the Niepoort Lagar de Baixo Baga from Bairrada in Portugal. So, just to start to break that down for you, Niepoort, the name is Dirk Niepoort. Niepoort is a long time very well-known port family in Portugal, one of the best known in the world. But only about 25% of their wines today are port wines. The other 75% are still wines, table wines being made from different parts of Portugal in and around Porto, using all kinds of indigenous grapes. So more on that in a moment. Um, Lagar de Baixo is the Baixo winery in Bairrada. Bairrada is the region in Portugal. Um, Niepoort, like a lot of the other pretty cool Portuguese producers, has moved, not totally away for sure from fortified wines, but they realized that the market, the world out there doesn't drink it as much, and they also realized they could make really high quality table wines, still wines from a lot of these grapes. So he, like other Portuguese winemakers, is really fascinated by this Baga grape, Baga. Baga is very Pinot Noir like, medium bodied, lots of cherry and earth characteristic, makes a beautifully clear, beautifully ruby colored wine. It makes an excellent sparkling wine, makes an excellent rosé. It's also made a really not excellent rosé. Traditionally, 85% of all the Baga grown in Portugal still goes into Matus rosé. For those of you who used to drink Matus out of those little squat bottles and then melt candles in it, you know exactly what I mean. But again, they realize they can make really high quality wine from this. And the cool thing is, it's not new plantings. Niepoort went out and found like these pockets of old vines that were just kind of growing, in some cases abandoned and wild, but very small growers and producers, and started buying grapes from them until he bought the Baixo winery 10 years ago, so we can kind of consolidate it all. And Baga's a thing. I think Baga's going to be hot. As I said, it makes really, really delicious wines in different styles. What he does with this is he does that carbonic maceration, which is a whole cluster fermentation to extract even more kind of flavor out of these grapes. It is a very cherry kind of a flavor. It does have an earthiness to it. This is it is not a sweet wine by any stretch. It is lower in alcohol and probably has a touch of more fruit than fruit sweetness from fruit, or sugar from fruit, but again, not a sweet wine by any stretch. Makes under 1,000 cases of this. It's pretty cool. After they have all the fruit is hand picked. It's at these high altitude grapes. They undergo this carbonic maceration and malolactic fermentation to give it a little more texture, and then it spends 20 months in really huge used wood barrels to create even more texture for it. So it's a pretty interesting wine. But here's what gets even more interesting: it's really versatile. So you can have this with game. Like, think about like a boar or venison in a kind of a lighter preparation, not some big heavy sort of a stew that's been cooking down. You can have it with legumes. You can have it with meatier fish. If you have a fish dish, like say a baked cod, where they're using tomato and onion, this wine would go with that nicely too. Definitely dishes with legumes, lentil dishes, bean dishes. I think this goes incredibly well with too. Seafood stews. Think of something that's like a Manhattan clam chowder type, with it's hearty but not so big. A fish stew that's got a tomato base of sorts. I think this would go really nicely with as well. So, or a fish broth kind of a base. It's that interesting, I think, and it's that versatile a wine. And again, this is another one of those wines that I've wanted to bring in for a while, and I feel that now that We're moving into warmer weather. This is a little bit better, warmer weather kind of a wine. It's not a big, bold wine, but I think it packs an awful lot of flavor and is very interesting. I've had rosé versions. I've had sparkling versions. I think it makes beautiful sparkling wine. And again, it's got a very much a Pinot Noir characteristic. Think of it similar to the characteristic of a lighter Pinot Noir, like that Heart and Hands we had from the Finger Lakes, which, by the way, I just found out this week that 6 of their wines just were rated 91 to 96 points. One of their single vineyard Pinot Noirs, which I've had the good fortune to have bought in the past, was just given 96-point rating, which is the highest rating any Finger Lakes wine has received to date. So, which is pretty cool. But anyway, so similar in that style to a lighter Pinot Noir as well. And I think you'll like this. If it's a warmer day, don't hesitate to stick it in the fridge for a little while too. I'm not saying don't serve it ice cold. Don't serve it with hours in the refrigerator, but by certainly stick it in for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour on a warmer day. If you're having kind of grilled food, things of that nature, you'll be rewarded. Don't serve it at a tepid temperature. A little bit cooler, and you'll get a lot more of that kind of flavor and some of these really cool layers coming out of it. So that's it. That's wine number 3. Hop to it. Enjoy them, and we'll talk more soon. And I'll get back to you when we're going to have our monthly Zoomer. Thank you.